Hey everyone, get ready, because today we're really going to get into the whole world of youth sports. We're not messing around, we're going deep. We've got our thinking caps on, ready to tackle this academic paper called Youth Sport, Positive and Negative Impact on Young Athletes. And let me tell you, this thing, it really digs up some surprises about kids and, well, competition.
It really does. This isn't just about juice boxes and everyone gets a trophy kind of stuff. We're going all the way with this. How youth sports affect kids physically, mentally, everything.
Right, like when you think back to playing sports as a kid, I swear I can still smell the grass stains and those cheap hot dogs. For a lot of us, it was pure fun, right? Or was it?
That's the thing, isn't it? And this research, it paints a picture, well, it's a little more complicated than just sunshine and smiles. Get this, 45 million kids in the U.S. participate in organized sports.
Whoa, 45 million.
That's like everyone in California out on the fields and courts.
Wow, that's a lot of kids. You'd think with that many kids, like 75% of families, right? You'd think youth sports would be a slam dunk for everyone involved.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But here's the catch. 70% to 80% of those kids, they're done by the time they're 15. They just quit.
Really? They just give it up completely. Why? Why are so many kids giving up on the games we love?
It's not just one bad call, that's for sure. To understand it, we got to kind of unpack both the good and the bad when it comes to youth sports today.
Okay, so let's start with the good stuff. I mean, some of the benefits are obvious, right? Physical activity, fighting childhood obesity.
Absolutely, those are the big ones. But this research, it really digs into some of the benefits that aren't so obvious. For example, did you know that studies have found a link between playing youth sports and getting better grades?
No way, really. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Discipline, teamwork, all that. But, Smon, better grades because of sports.
That's what the data says. And it goes even deeper than that. This paper talks about studies that found kids who play sports might even have a lower risk of depression.
Wow, okay. Now that's something you don't expect. We're not just talking about what happens on the field anymore. Those are serious, lifelong benefits.
And when you think about it, the things kids learn in sports, like how to get back up after you fail, how to set goals, how to work together as a team, it makes sense that those things would help in other parts of their lives too, you know.
You're right. It's just, well, it can't all be sunshine and roses, can it? We've all seen that other side of youth sports. You know, the injuries, the pressure, the crazy parents.
You're hitting on some important stuff there, and this paper doesn't shy away from that darker side either.
So let's get into it. What does it say about those downsides? What about all those injuries you see happening out there?
Get ready for this, because this study found that every year there are more than 2.5 million trips to the ER because of youth sports injuries. That's a crazy number of kids on the sidelines.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. 2.5 million. That's more than all the hot dogs sold at those games, probably combined. What's going on? Have the games gotten more dangerous or something?
It's not that the games themselves are really more dangerous. It's more about what's happening off the field, and even before the kids even get on the field. This paper really digs into something called early specialization.
Early specialization. Wait, you mean like when kids only play soccer or just do baseball? Is that really so bad? I mean, isn't practice how you get better at something?
It's a great question, and it's something a lot of parents and coaches are really struggling with these days. This study says that specializing too early on, it can actually be bad for a young athlete.
Okay, now I gotta know more. What's so bad about it?
Well, it all goes back to those growth plates. Remember those?
Oh, yeah, right. The areas of growing bone, like little construction zones in their bodies.
Exactly. See, when kids specialize early, they're using the same muscles and joints over and over again, day after day. So this paper is saying all that repetitive motion, without enough rest and recovery, it can actually mess with how those growth plates develop, especially in those sports where they're throwing a lot, or like overhead motions, you know.
Yeah. So we're not just talking about a sore arm or a pulled hamstring here. This could actually mess up how their bones grow long term.
That's what this research is suggesting. And that's got to be a scary thought for any parent, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just the physical stuff either. The mental part of specializing early, that can be a lot for a kid to handle too.
Yeah, I bet.
Think about it. When all your time and energy goes into just one sport and you're still so young, it can become your whole world, you know?
All your eggs in one basket? Yeah, that's a lot of pressure for a kid. And that's not good.
Not according to this study. Kids who specialize early, they're more likely to burn out, get stressed, even depressed, if they don't become the superstar athlete they think they're supposed to be.
Right, right.
Plus, they miss out on, other experiences that help them grow as a person. It's like only reading one chapter of a book and thinking, the whole story.
Love that analogy. You need all those other chapters, all those different experiences to really get it.
Exactly. And speaking of trying different things, this article, it also gets into the role of coaches in all of this, which, let's face it.
Oh yeah, the coaches. That's a whole other ball game. I mean, I had some coaches growing up who were like heroes to me. But then there were others, well, let's just say they weren't quite as inspiring.
And you're not alone.
Yeah.
This research actually found that there aren't a lot of rules about who can coach, especially when kids are younger. So a lot of times you've got well-meaning parents volunteering, which is great, but
But they might not really know what they're doing.
right. And that can be a big problem.
Hmm.
Because coaches, they have a huge influence. They're the ones running the show, setting the tone for the whole team. They probably spend more time with these kids than their teachers do during the season.
That's true. And kids, they just soak it all up at that age. Like sponges. They're watching everything their coaches do.
That's exactly it. And how a coach treats their players, that can really make or break it for a young athlete. This paper really emphasizes the importance of positive coaching. Encouraging kids, talking to them clearly, and focusing on how hard they're working instead of just whether they win or lose.
So it's not enough to just teach them the plays or how to like shoot a free throw. You got to create a good environment, a supportive environment for them to really thrive.
Exactly. But unfortunately, this study also found that when coaches yell at their players or criticize them in front of everyone or care too much about winning, that can really hurt a kid. It can make them anxious, make them want to quit altogether.
Yeah, it's like that saying, kids might not remember what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
Exactly. And speaking of people who can have a strong influence, let's not forget about the parents.
Oh boy, the parents. I think we all know that parental involvement's important, but man, there's a fine line between being supportive and being, well, that parent on the sidelines.
Oh, for sure. And this paper, it really gets into that whole parental pressure cooker that can happen in youth sports.
The pressure cooker. I love
Sure.
that. So, what's the answer? What does this study say about how parents can be supportive without becoming, that parent screaming from the sidelines?
Well, one of the biggest things this research found is that parents, they really need to shift their focus. Instead of focusing so much on the outcome, did they win? Did they score the most goals? It's about focusing on the effort they're putting in.
So, instead of like high-fiving the kid who scores the winning goal, you're cheering for the one who, I don't know, dives for the ball even if they miss.
Exactly. Let them know you're proud of them for working hard, for sticking with it, for getting better no matter what the scoreboard says. And, maybe the most important thing is just keep talking to them. Ask them how they're feeling, what they're learning. Not just about their batting average or how fast they ran the race.
It's like showing them that their worth isn't tied to some scoreboard. It's about who they are as a person. And honestly, I think that's something a lot of us adults could use a reminder about sometimes.
Wow.
Not just in sports, but just life.
I couldn't agree more. Because really, youth sports, they should be about empowering kids, not just creating amazing athletes. It's about giving them those tools they can use off the field too.
Mm-hmm.
Teamwork, resilience, learning how to push themselves.
Right. Well said. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like we need to hit the reset button on youth sports. So
Yeah.
where do we go from here? Does this paper have any ideas?
It does. It talks
Okay.
about doing a better job of training the coaches, setting some standard safety guidelines for everyone, and encouraging kids to play a bunch of different sports instead of just focusing on one too early on. Remember, we want them to be well-rounded people, not just athletes.
Right. Expose them to different skills, different teams, different challenges. That's how they figure out what they really love to do.
Exactly. And let's not forget the most important part of all this, having FUN. I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
When kids are having fun, they're going to want to keep playing. They'll learn to love being active, and they'll get all those benefits, the physical ones, the mental ones, the social ones.
So true. We got to remember, these are kids. This has been such a great conversation, really got me thinking about, my own experiences and how I can do my part to make youth sports better for everyone. Whether it's cheering on my niece at her soccer game or just encouraging kids to get out there and play no matter what their skill level is.
And that's what we want all our listeners to do. Think about how we can all work together, parents, coaches, even the fans on the sidelines, to make youth sports a better experience for all these kids.
Yes, 100%. And to everyone listening, we want to hear from you. How can we make youth sports more positive and empowering for kids? Hit us up on social media. Keep this conversation going.
Because at the end of the day, when it comes to youth sports, we're all on the same team.
Couldn't agree more. And that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Until next time, Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those minds and bodies moving.